Hello everyone, welcome to NLG Level 1 in English. This is day 1 of Level 1. So if you are new here, if this is your first time taking an NLG class, welcome to NLG. Sorry about that. That just means that my audio is working just fine. Sorry everyone. So if this is first time here with NLG, then welcome. And if you are someone who's already taken Level 1 before, and you're here today to revise the class content, that it's excellent as well. So just to clarify with everyone before we start, this is for Level 1 participant only because it will include Level 1 energy activation. So if any of you here in Level 2, 3, and 4, you're welcome to tune into the class content, but remember that to not receive the energy activation if you've already been activated with a high class level. So before our class start, I'd like to just remind everyone that we really appreciate it if you can register before coming into class, and just so that we have a better understanding of who's attending class and the number of people who's truly interested and are taking this class, perhaps for the first time or to revise it. All right, so if you haven't registered, that's fine because the registration link is still up on our Telegram groups as well as our Facebook page. So make sure that you go in there, you have a look, and you will see the class code, which is, it would say, for example, L1, EN, that means Level 1 English. And then you'll see, for example, for this class, it would be 2-3, which is the year 2023, 08, that's August, and 17, meaning the date. So today is August 17, PDT. So that will be the code. This is just an example of the code that we will be using from now on for each of the class, so that when you go and register, you can select the class that you would like to participate in. And so if you haven't registered, then make sure that after today's class, because we still have tomorrow to go as well for Level 1, and so make sure that you register before tomorrow. And also don't forget to like and follow our Facebook page, NLG, Energy University. Subscribe to our YouTube channels as well. That goes under the same name. And later on, I will show you the QR code to our Level 1 and 2 class. So basically with Level 1, I hope that you are already aware by now that Level 1 consists of 2 sessions. So it will be today and tomorrow at the same time. And before we start, let's do a little self-introduction. So my name is Isabella Hai, and I will be your Level 1 and 2 English instructor. I started with NLG as a practitioner, like many of you. I started from Level 1, of course, then to Level 2, 3, 4, and I'm now in Level 5. And I started since the end of 2021 all the way up until now. And I was very lucky to join the instructor training program. And here I am as an NLG instructor, teaching mainly Level 1 and 2 at the moment. And so as your NLG instructor, I will help to, of course, activate your brain frequency, your stem cells to match with your current NLG level. And from there, as you get to understand more about the theory of NLG, more information about it, you can hopefully put it into practice using the formulas that we'll provide you with. And of course, receive all of the energy activation, because that is the only way that you'll be able to utilize the formula set. So I know that everyone here might come from different countries and you have different backgrounds. So just to put it out there, that if you like to address me, then my first name is Isabella. would be the best way to go. I'm totally fine with that. And so that's just a little bit about me. All right, so basic introduction of NLG. Hopefully that you've heard of NLG from your friends or family and they've told you great things about it by now, but just some very, very basic information. So NLG is a practice-based method that can benefit you in many different aspects. For example, your health, which many of you may feel improvements as you go, many differences as you go through these classes. And other than that, you can apply NLG into many fields of life as well. So I'll just share with you these slides here to start, so that for those of you who are visual learner, you have a better understanding and you have a good summary here. Okay, so NLG currently has 5 class level, level 1 to level 5, 5 being the highest at the current moment. And in order to proceed to the next class, of course, you have to fully complete the previous class. For example, if you want to participate in level 2, you must complete level 1 fully, which consists of 2 sessions and 2 energy activation. So it is not to pick and choose which class you would like to attend, but you do need to go in sequence. And then as you get to a high class level, the number of sessions will increase. So for example, level 3 consists of 3 sessions, level 4 consists of 5 sessions, and then level 5 consists of 13 sessions. So generally level 1 and 2 can be completed online, much like what we are doing right now. And level 3, 4, and 5 are generally completed in person. There are occasions where Mr. Lee approved for level 3 to be taught online, and that it is exactly what's going to happen in at the start of September. So the start of next month, Mr. Lee has a level 3 online class. So it'll be really wonderful if you can start with level 1 and 2 now within August. And if you have friends and family who's interested in NLG, make sure that you inform them that they should participate in level 1 and 2 in August, so that they can participate in the level 3 in September, because that is one of the things with level 3 online is that we don't usually have it. And often there needs to be a lot of discussion and planning from Mr. Lee. And so when you can do level 3 online is a great opportunity. So make sure that if you have friends and family who would like to participate in level 3, then make sure that they participate in level 1 and level 2 first. And of course, NLG is for everyone. Children as young as 8 years old to 12 years old can also participate, but we highly recommend that they do so with parental supervision. And we suggest that both parents needs to be NLG participant, so that you can both be on board with supervising your child's practice progress. Because if they don't, they come into NLG and they don't understand it, they don't know how to do it correctly, then they might grow to be very bored and frustrated with the process, and they might lose interest, which can be quite challenging to have them come back in the future. So make sure that if you have young children participate in the class with you, that you guide them all the way through, as well as through their everyday practice as well. So other than the 5 class level that we currently have, there are also 3 very special programs for you to join later on if you're interested. So the first program is applying NLG to agriculture, forestry, and fishery. This, of course, will benefit farmers and so many more people who work in that field to really make good profit, make good products, to increase productivity, minimize the use of chemical substances, and that will certainly help us as consumer as well to have really reliable and wonderful products to consume. And the second program that we have is applying NLG to assist couples to have healthy babies that are intelligent and are free of many of the diseases and issues that we often see today with infants. And of course, even for those with infertility concerns, we can certainly help with that, as you have probably heard from our NLG participants, those who come online to share about this story on our live stream and in writing as well. So both of these programs, that is, if you want to participate in the agriculture project or the couple project, the baby project, that is, then of course you have to fully complete level 3 or above. And in particular, the second program requires both partners to participate to maximize potential outcomes. And the last program that we currently have is the instructor training program, which is very closely selected by Mr. Lay himself. And in order to participate in that program, you're required to complete level 4 or above. Okay. Just some more important notes before we dive into the actual class content. So with NLG being a practice-based method, of course, that means that you should practice it every day with quality and consistency. It is very beneficial for your health. We've heard a lot about that from our NLG participant. However, NLG is not an alternative treatment, and it shouldn't replace your current medical treatments. So if you have a condition, you should continue with your treatment plans, consult with your doctor, and you can practice NLG alongside as a separate thing, but it should never replace your medical treatment. And along the way, if you practice NLG and you feel that there is improvements from that, then you can choose to inform your doctor so that they can adjust the medical treatment plan if needed, or to give you the most appropriate treatment plans possible. But remember to not change treatment plans by yourself. Always consult with your doctor, and just know that NLG is not an alternative treatment. Okay. And if you need to contact us, I've already mentioned to follow our Facebook page and YouTube channel, as well as our website that's already up. And you can find more information in the description box if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, NLG is not political or religious, so be mindful of that when you try to share information about it. And as you practice in these levels, that is level 1 and 2, the majority of people do experience various degree of health transformation. And as you get to a high class, Mr. Lee will share with you more about other projects that we have and more things that NLG can support. Okay, let's see if I can share this screen right now with you. Oh, just one more thing. So Mr. Lee used to teach level 1 and 2, but he's mainly focused on the high class level right now. So just a few points about him, about our NLG founder, Mr. Phúc Lê. His full name is Lê Văn Phúc, and he was born in Bien Hoa province, which is now Đông Nam province of Vietnam. And at the age of 22, he joined his family and moved to the US. And he was able to learn from a very, very special master who taught him about NLG. He then applied NLG to himself throughout his journey of learning and implementing this method. He then he then get to obtain a lot of amazing outcome, and that's why he decided to share this method with us, with the community. At the start of 2020, he went to Vietnam, and together with many NLG volunteers, he put together classes. And then in 2021, he returned to the United States, but he continued to hold many classes for people online and offline. Although he's been teaching for a long time, this method, that is, he wishes that people just address him in a more casual, loving way. Often it's just Mr. Lay, or in Vietnamese, we would call him Uncle Phúc instead of calling him teacher or master. So when you call him uncle, he explained that it's much like a relative, and he find that a lot more appropriate in his case, being that he refused to call himself a master or a teacher. Okay, so now we go through some class recommendation. And then afterwards, I will transmit healing energy to everyone before our classes start, just so everyone is full of loving energy, so that you can take in all of these class content as best possible. Okay, so these are some of our class recommendations. Number one, please arrange to attend the course on time to receive the activation fully. Being on time also shows respect for the instructor and everyone in the class. Also, will help avoid network congestion when too many people decide to join at the same time. Choose your study space. Please set up your study space in a quiet place away from distractions during the activation and practice session. Copyright energy content without our permission is prohibited. Please do not record or distribute our video lecture online without our consent. All online courses will be recorded for tracking purposes on our energy platform. You can attend our course via phone, laptop, iPad, etc. Ensure you check your device before attending our online classes, including internet connection, battery usage, audio quality, etc. We will have time for participants to ask questions about the course, formulas, and practice recommendations. So please save your question until the end of the session. And if we do run out of time, I will certainly give you the QR code to join our Telegram groups, and you will have more time and space in there to actually ask questions. Okay, so the original energy source, NLG, which stands for Năng lượng gốc in Vietnamese, method is provided by the NLG Energy Source University to support anyone seeking assistance from NLG. NLG online courses are completely free. So that is with level 1 and 2, and then the upcoming level 3. That's also free, but there's a fee for the certificate if you would like to attain that. And then for specific class, of course, we'll certainly inform you very quickly. But with these level 1 and 2 courses, because they're online, so as of the current moment, they're still free. Okay. Energy techniques and information is for educational purposes only and cannot be substituted for the advice or care of a medical professional. It does not replace doctor's diagnoses and medical treatment. We recommend that participants consult a doctor before undertaking alternative health improving methods. We will not accept any liability or warranty or not be responsible to any individual if you do not see any improvements. Energy participants are responsible for their current state of health and will need to monitor their progress. Energy participants need to have self-awareness and follow the instructions and formulas to achieve desired outcomes. And note that energy is not a religion, neither it is a meeting ground for ritual activities. Energy does not advise participants to give up or join any religion or political party. Energy University does not participate in any religion or political institution of any country. Okay, so I think we're done with all of the housekeeping information. So now I'd like to send out healing energy for everyone. So if you've already received healing energy from Mr. Lei about an hour ago, then please do not receive these healing energy transmission, because remember that with healing transmission, whether you practice it yourself or you receive support from other people, it should be 6 hours apart. But for those of you who are now here and you actually skipped Mr. Lei's energy transmission earlier, then you can receive these healing energy from me. So just in case if you're new here, when you receive healing energy, which is very different from energy activation, okay? So there are two very different things. So this is healing energy transmission. So what you do is you look at my forehead and looking in my forehead, and then you imagine, you visualize energy going from my forehead into yours 3 times, and then you let the energy absorb and flow through your body. Okay. And of course, with energy transmission or activation, it is only effective in real time, meaning that when it is live, meaning that when you receive the energy that I'm actually transmitting in real time to you. Okay. All right. So now let's do 5 minutes, 30 seconds of healing energy so that everyone is full of good, positive, loving energy to start today's class. All right, so let's get started, everyone. Okay, so we just finished the healing energy transmission. Okay, let's dive into today's class content. I'll share the screen with you so that you can see this nice and clear. Okay, so I hope you can see it now. All right, so you can see on the screen here, these are our 3 logos of NLG. You have from the left-hand side to the right-hand side in sequence, the Cosmic Divine Light logo, which is this one. And then you have the Wisdom logo, which is NLG, Energy University logo. And then you also have here the Loving Home logo. So these 3 logos in this sequence were introduced to us in April 23rd, 2023. In this sequence here. And this was the latest version. And on that day, Mr. Lee shared with us that he's able to unlock the 3rd code, which result in a perfect white circle at the center of the Cosmic Divine Light logo, as you can see here, representing cosmic light that embraces all being. And if you look back throughout the development of energy, you will notice the differences in the different periods. So this logo in particular, the Cosmic Divine Light, as Mr. Lee unlock it further and further, the center of the logo changes through the different periods. So this first logo, the Cosmic Divine Light logo, started off as Chomdong, in other words, bronze drum, which is a concept that many of you might have heard of if you've been listening to the previous level 1. And you realize that previously the center of this pattern used to have 14 arrays, looks like a big sun. And then as Mr. Lee gradually decoded to unlock the energy within, and as you get to level 3, he will explain further about that, then it changes to Cosmic Divine Light. From Chomdong, the name changes to Cosmic Divine Light, and that marks the first difference in the middle here. There was a star in the middle here. And now this is the latest version, which is only light in the middle, as you can see. And contained within here, you have a great deal of incredible lessons in wisdom, and of course, the energy source that we will harness and put that into practice to enable great things that we can visibly see and experience, which is in the Energy University. This is where all of the knowledge, wisdom, and energy become more visible, more apparent to us. And you can sort of think about it as theory to practice. And of course, there's no limit to the energy of Cosmic Divine Light, which is why it allows us to do all sorts of incredible things. Now, when I say that we can do a lot of incredible things, of course, we need to do it in the right way, because you absolutely cannot take this energy and do negative things or things for your personal gain, because then your energy frequency no longer match with that of the Cosmic Divine Light. And once we're able to go from theory to practice, knowledge to benefits, that when we can build, maintain, and support the Loving Home logo on the right. So the Loving Home logo portrays a family with parents and children. All of them have a very close bond together. It represents genuine love, and there's 13 heartbeats that you can see representing 12 months in a year. And the 13th heartbeat indicates humanity's energy connection to the outer space civilization. Okay, so I've mentioned a few terms, of course, and so let me just explain it very quickly as we go through these this class content. Okay, sorry everyone, just trying to work with my computer here. Okay, I got it. Okay, so these will be our class content. Of course, we'll talk about NLG, energy source, the benefits of NLG, we will have activation and practice of the formula. I'll guide you through that. We'll talk about the energy development as we go, energy source, the actual concepts of it, and then all of the ways in which we receive energy source. So we'll go through and I'll explain some more. Now, because the cosmic divide light bring us a lot of benefits that are beyond our imagination, so it's necessary to learn how to get there. Okay, so as we talk about things that it allows us to do, but of course we need to meet certain standards for us to get to where we can actually see the benefits. So I've been talking about, I've used quite a few terms, new terms, I guess. So for those of you who are, who's this is your first time here at NLG, then perhaps you might have two questions. So the first one is that how can we make sense of what we just talked about, which is the outer space realization? What is it? And then question number two is, where does this energy source comes from? Okay, so because level one is a foundation level, so I'll give you a pretty simple explanation to prepare you for the high class level that Mr. Lee will go in depth about these concepts. So when we talk about the outer space civilization, you can visualize it as basically it comes from, it's like a country that is very far away, that is very advanced. Just visualize it like it, just visualize it like that for now, just so that it makes more sense to you at this beginner level. And so it's advanced, it's far away from us, where the beings who live there, who exist there, do so in a very sophisticated way. And they have very sophisticated forms of wisdom, technology, science, virtues. So everything about them is more advanced. And the good thing is that they are willing to support us in the things that we do, to help us to be better. Right now, I'll just leave it at that for the outer space civilization. And then onto the energy source that we've been talking about, and we'll be actually using it. So this energy source has existed for a very long time, has been woven into our lives very long ago. But the question is that if it already exists, then which frequency of this energy that we get to use? Because there's many different levels, many different frequency that are very similar to, let's say, a school system. So if you imagine it in that way, I guess it'll be easier for you to visualize. So for example, you've got primary school level, high school level, university, etc. And so whichever frequency you get to use, that is determined by whether you have the key to get to NLG. We'll talk about that more in depth later about how to get there. But first of all, let's talk about what's already happening around us and has been an ongoing issue for us. And why is it that NLG, why is it that we share NLG now with everyone trying to tackle with these dilemmas? Okay, so the three big issues that we focus on here at NLG so are these three issues. Now, of course, wars and conflicts, poverty and hunger, illness and diseases. And it's not that we haven't talked or tried to resolve these issues, these problems, but I guess we can fairly say that the outcome has been quite limiting. And for a very long time, we've gone in circles. And so on a more, on a bigger level, I guess you might say that, well, these has very little to do with me because I don't necessarily experience these issues. But we like to encourage you to also look at this from a more personal perspective. So, for example, illness and diseases, I guess, is very, very relevant to many of us, sadly. It could be that you're dealing with an illness, or someone that you know that you're close with, a family member, for example, are trying to cope with an illness. And so that is pretty straightforward. We can see a lot of people in our community, in our society, are still very sick, even very young children. And we have all sorts of different illnesses that we have to deal with every day, in which we're still trying to find solution for them. And when we talk about wars and conflicts, of course, with the bigger issues, I guess everyone's is already aware. But if we look at this on a more personal perspective, then it could be that there's conflicts within your family when you say that you're happy, but you're not, or, all of the happiness, all of the joy that you put forward for people to see is only a facade. For example, if there's no real connection between your family members, or it could be that there's a serious situation at work with your colleague, for example. So we certainly experience conflicts in our everyday life. And then poverty and hunger, of course, we see there's a tremendous number of homeless people on the street every day. And there are also family who couldn't afford to feed themselves. So certainly we cannot deny that these three problems still exist, even until today, after a lot of great attempts to tackle these problems. So how do we go about solving these issues? Now, the elements to have, as you can see on the screen here, of course, we have, according to NLG, that is genuine moral values. So this is something that we need to keep and we need to prioritize. I hope that by now, every one of us are, really familiar with the ideas of morality, but that is what I hope. But on a more holistic side of thing, we also need to speculate, why is it that some people still do things to hurt other people, intentionally, which clearly doesn't reflect the values of morality. People may view this in many different ways, giving different reasons as to why people behave the way that they do. But the point is that when people's priority of virtue changes, then that also influence their behaviors. And so that's why we recommend that when you come into NLG, you need to be more aware of moral values, keep it at heart, and prioritize it in all that you do. And of course, we have what we call the 5 forms of love, and we have a separate slice for that, and we'll talk about that in more depth. But generally, when we talk about love before you come into NLG, it doesn't matter what you have done, whether you've shown love to other people before. When you come into NLG, you are encouraged to adapt to a more loving behaviors that matches with the loving nature of NLG. Now, if you've already practiced love, that is excellent to hear. You can certainly refine and elevate it further as you practice NLG. And if you haven't shown love in proper ways, if you belong to that group, then just a heads up that you will need to seriously work on that, because that is part of the progress. If you want to get the most out of NLG, that is the things that you need to do, is love and morality. Now, of course, at NLG, we don't judge you for what you've done. What matters is how you're going to move forward after knowing about these elements and knowing very precisely what is asked of you from this method, so that you can really utilize this method to support yourself as well as other people. And at level 1, it's really important to recognize the key to energy. So these are the keys to energy here, everyone. It will help you to achieve your goals much better and quicker. Building a good foundation knowledge. It's like building a good foundation to your home. And so certainly don't underestimate these beginner level, because it is absolutely necessary. And we mentioned briefly about the 5 forms of love. That is a concept here that we coin at NLG. And so we break it down for you. So you can see here, it is self-love, love for family, love for country, love for humankind, and love for all living things. So these 5 forms of love go in this sequence, meaning that this is the sequence that you should work from. So first of all is self-love, and then as you move on to high class level, you continue to work on the other ones. So the question that comes to mind for many of you, I guess, is that how come self-love comes first, which is, it comes first as the first form of love that we need to refine. Shouldn't self-love be the last one? Shouldn't we put others before us? But let me ask you these very realistic question. And I like for you to think very carefully about this. How would you support other people when you're not in the state that is fit to do so? Let's say you want to take care of your family, you want to take care of the people that you love, but if you don't feel okay, if you struggle every single day, then wouldn't that just be the opposite of what you want to do? So you probably end up needing other people to take care of you, to help you, rather than actually, fulfilling your wish of taking care of other people and doing the things that you love. So our body becomes sick because we don't take care of it well. We don't take care of it enough, and not in proper ways. Now, it could be that for many of you, you do take care of yourself, you do devote time for that, but perhaps not consistently or not precisely. Let's say when you're conscious of the idea, when you're mindful, then you go to a great extent to take good care of yourself. But when you're not happy or something happened that occupies your mind, you may start to neglect a lot of things, including self-love. So that's why self-love needs to be the first thing that you do, because it needs to be very consistent, because when you have good energy in your mind, in your body, that would reflect on the things that you do and the things that you can achieve. So in level 1, we suggest that you work on the first 2 forms, which is self-love and love for family. And then in level 2, we'll continue to work on love for country. And from level 3 onwards, your goal would be the last 2 forms, while you maintain the other ones, of course. And as you get to a high class level, your love for all of these elements needs to be elevated as you go. Okay, so you don't just stay in one level, you need to elevate that as you go. Now, balancing your mind and your body is certainly very, very important. And so is the need to maintain composure, calmness, because that's part of self-love as well. Because when you're in that state, it's like you put yourself in what we call the +1, -1 frequency. It's much like your heart rate resting at 60 to 80 beats per minute. And that's the frequency in which you can connect and receive energy most effectively. Now, this energy will then support the cells in our body, which is very necessary as the food and water that we consume and the air that we breathe. Cells without energy is like us human without oxygen. So once you understand the importance of energy for the cells in our body, I hope that you voluntarily prioritize and maximize your practice of NLG, while also trying to maintain composure and be in a very loving state, always refining yourself to be a better individual for our society. And with that, it relates to love for family, because after you finish level 1, you have the formula to give healing support to your family members. And then additionally, you'll learn to connect to your family in much better ways. Now that you've worked on yourself, with self-love being a better version of yourself. And for many people, unfortunately, the home is not a home. It's merely just a place that they live in. There's no warmth, there's no real connection, there's no meaning to be with your family. And so for that reason, if you work on yourself to be a better version of yourself, without asking other people to change, then you can be the one to inspire change. So instead of asking them to change, you do it first, you do the part. And that will certainly, when you do good things, that attracts other good things to come as well. And we also have very special formulas that can help with that process, of course, that I will share with you later on. Because if you want to have good things, you want to meet good people, you want to have good opportunity, then you need to show love and kindness first. It's not that you sit there and wait for other people to do it for you or to you, but it is about taking initiation when it comes to love and kindness. And when you become a better version of yourself, then your family, that would inspire change and hopefully very close bond. Because as you plant the seed of love, then you get to harvest it later when it grows into the big tree of love and kindness. And only when you're a good person that you can attract good people and good things, because like attracts like. And sometimes you interpret the things that you do to others as insignificant and minor, but remember that what goes around comes around. And think about, the consequences as well of your behaviors. So the outer space civilization, as I mentioned earlier, there is no limit to the energy that it contains. And this energy will guide you on this journey of self-enhancement. Now, with the outer space civilization, something that you need to know about them is that they're very precise, they're very fair. And so that's why Mr. Lay said that we cannot cheat, we cannot get away with the things that we do. Sometimes just because people don't look, just because people don't seem to know, it doesn't mean that you can get away with it. So what you say, what you do for the most part, certainly up to you. So really consider very carefully before you act, because there always be karmic consequences. And if that sounds a little bit too serious, then let me just give you an example. Okay, so that it sounds serious when we talk about consequences, but it's actually just coming, the everyday life kind of things that we do. So let's say, you certainly can't control whether it's a rainy or a sunny day. And that's the same as many things that happen around us, right? Or to us, because we live in a world where there's full of interaction, right? So what you can change is your perspective, your thoughts, your behaviors. And so let's say that it's a pretty rainy day. So what you can expect is that, okay, am I going to sit here and be upset because it's a rainy day and my plans certainly got cancelled because of that? Or should I still do something to make the most out of it? And so that's the same when you encounter something that's out of your control. And a lot of the time, people's behaviors is out of your control. You can't really control that. You can't really ask them to change it. But what you can change is the way that you look at things when you have the 5 forms of love and morality in mind. And so ask yourself this: when I let my emotions get the better of me, is that self-love? Am I practicing self-love in the correct way? And because I'm so upset that I then say things, do things that are absolutely horrible to other people, to my family, particularly my family, then is that love for family? So just consider that, right? It comes in, the smallest thing that you do and you say. And of course, ask yourself what consequences will follow when we do things that hurt people. So those are some of the things that I'd like for you to consider as we go on. Okay. Now, I mentioned these briefly as well about the +1 - 1 frequency. You can have a read on the screen, and I'll continue to just explain it. So the +1 - 1 frequency, as I've mentioned, essentially you could think about this as the cell's favorite frequency. Okay. Because the cells get to connect and receive energy source from outer space civilization when we regulate ourselves to be in this frequency. That's also when you practice most effectively. Okay. So if you're not in the +1 - 1 frequency, even if you sit there for 5 minutes and 30 seconds as instructed to practice, you won't get 100% of energy because your connection, in other words, your frequency, it's far from the +1 - 1 frequency. Okay, so the +1 - 1 frequency, in other words, you remain in a state that is calm and loving. That can be formed and that can be trained through our flows of thoughts. That is a state of self-regulation. It's something that you create for yourself, that you refine as you go, particularly when you have the 5 forms of love and morality in mind, always. And the good news is we're all very capable of doing this. And the reason why we can get to this frequency through love is because the state of love equals harmony, composure, peace. And if you don't have love, if you don't practice love, even if I give you energy activation, the outcome will be very, very limiting. And it is not my energy activation that doesn't work, but it's more so your energy frequency. When you're in a state where you can't receive energy properly, and certainly when you can't really maximize your control of energy and how you use this energy to support yourself and other people. Okay. Now, even though we talk about the need to control emotion, it is not to say that we can't be upset, happy, or excited. It's not that we can't have emotions, because of course emotions are part of us, but it's more so about how we deal with our emotions. So let's say before, when you get upset, you can be upset for days and days. But now, after you learn energy, you understand about love and morality, you understand the benefits of being in the +1 - 1 frequency and the benefits of this energy. So that is, you understand the benefits of regulating yourself and to always connect to this energy source. And for that, you will learn to maintain your composure more effectively and be more willing to maintain your composure. So just ask yourself, within a day, other than when we're asleep, of course, how many hours can you maintain the +1 - 1 frequency? So let me give you an example. Let's say that we put out a post, okay? Energy put out a post for the upcoming class, and then there's a few days, and then just a few days before class commencement, due to certain reasons, that the schedule is changed. So now that the time is completely different, it's very different compared to what you've already planned, and is a great inconvenience for you. So if that happened, that's just an example, of course, but if that happened, how would you feel? How would you react to that event? Would you be able to maintain your +1 - 1 frequency, or would you react in the same way that you often do? Because how you respond counts. Okay, so because oftentimes when there's no obstacle, there's nothing wrong, people often say, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm a very calm person." But when something happened, that's where we can really see how your love and morality, how you've been practicing it, and that just reflect in the ways that you respond to things that happens unexpectedly to you. Okay. So I suggest that from now on, when you see someone being mean to other people, or do something that is unjust, take that as a lesson. Don't repeat it. Don't put yourself or other people in similar situation, because now that you understand, it's simply not a kind thing to do. And if you do something that is out of the +1 -1 frequency, then you would also understand that it has an effect on your energy connection. Okay. And certainly don't normalize being mean or try to justify using any reasons at all as to why you react in that way, all right, to other people, because remember that this is about you and your self-regulation. Moving on to the need to practice the method consistently. So you can see here, we have the example of the chicken and the egg. Okay, and we use this example to explain to people the need to practice consistently and the importance of that. So we know that generally the incubation period for a chicken egg is about 21 days. Same thing for when you practice energy, you need to get to a certain point to feel the changes. And if you want to feel those changes, for example, well, actually, for many of you, you might already feel the changes when you are activated. But as you go in your practice, in order for you to feel more changes and transformation, let's say that if the mother hen doesn't give her full 21 days, then the egg cannot hatch into a chick. So the point of your practice is consistency, and meaning you should practice on a daily basis. And you practice based on how the formulas instruct you to do. You practice accurately, adequately, and consistently, which is something that Mr. Lee reiterate again and again and again. Now, if the formula instructs you to open your eyes while you practice, please do so. And if it tells you to practice for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, please do so. Because the formulas that we share with you, that has been practiced by many other participants, they've achieved really amazing outcomes, and not to mention that these formulas are carefully written and standardized according to the method of NLG. Now, if you ask, okay, so why is it 5 minutes and 30 seconds for the formulas that I'll be using? Well, that is the set time, everyone, that our energy founder, Mr. Lee, have studied, and he decided on that. It's like asking, why does this phone operate on iOS and then that phone operates on Android? Okay, it's just the way that things are programmed. And if you're perhaps not too satisfied with that answer, then you can probably put forward a question for Mr. Lee as you get to level 3. All right. Okay. So we have about half an hour to go. I'll just see if I've covered everything for today's before we dive into the activation. Okay, I think we're good to go into the brain cell activation. Okay, so I mentioned at the start of the class is that level 1 consists of 2 days, and we have 2 energy activation. So today we'll receive one activation, which is the brain cell activation, and then tomorrow we'll do the stem cell activation. So these are 2 very, very different activations, and you're required to receive both. Okay. Now with the brain cell activation, I'll just go ahead and activate you now, and then after that, I will show you the brain cell formula that you'll be using for today, and then just for today, and then tomorrow, when we go into day 2 of level 1, we have more formulas, and so we'll no longer use that brain cell formula anymore. So it's just give you the first taste of feeling that energy flowing in your body. Okay, so I will now go ahead and activate you for the stem cells activation, but before that, I do need to show you a demonstration video. So basically, this is how you receive the activation. I'll just play this video for you, and I'll narrate as I show you the video. Okay, so what you do is you will certainly have your eyes open while I have mine closed. So you open your eyes, you look at me, and you visualize energy going from my forehead into yours, and you do that 3 times. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I'll just play that again so it's nice and clear and everyone know what to do. So you receive energy into your forehead like that. Okay, 3 times. And then you continue to visualize that. Okay, so in the video here, in the video here is only show you 3 times. But what you do is you continuously visualize energy going into your forehead, going into your brain, that is, for the entirety of the activation. Okay, and until I tell you that time is up. Okay, so the activation will be 1 minute and 30 seconds. I would set a timer. And so basically, I'll just show you one more time. So that is very, very clear what we need to do. So the video here, because it's really short, so it only shows you 3 times. But what you do, so basically you just look at me and you continuously visualize energy going into your brain, into your forehead like that, all the way until I tell you that time is up. Okay. All right, so just a reminder, everyone, that this is the brain cell activation for level 1 participant. So if you're in level 2 or above and you're just here to revise the content, then make sure that you just listen to the content and do not receive this activation, okay? Because this is level 1 activation for brain cell, okay? All right, so let's get going. So I'll set my timer to 1 minute and 30 seconds, and let's start now, everyone. Okay, so we have just finished the brain cell activation. So now we'll practice the brain cell activation formula together. Okay, we'll only practice this formula for today, as I've mentioned earlier, prior to day 2 of level 1. And then once we started with day 2 of level 1, we'll no longer practice this formula. All right, let me just get the formula on the screen so that everyone can see. Okay, here it is. So what we'll do in class today is that we'll practice this formula together right now. And then after this class, before tomorrow's class, you can practice this formula anywhere from 1 to 3 times on your own, in your own time. You can practice this formula consecutively. So first time, second time, third time, that's fine. Or you can practice a few hours apart. Either way it's okay. Now, when you practice, especially when you're at this foundation level, remember to try to sit somewhere that you feel calm and focused. If you're distracted for more than 30 seconds, we suggest that you discard that session and then you start again. Also, please do not sit in front of a fan or aircon, because you might not be able to feel the warmth of energy very clearly. And also the sound from fan and aircon could be distracting as well. At this foundation level, a lot of people say that they have difficulties in focusing. So really try your best to be in a calm, relaxed, mindful state. Okay, don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. Some people, when they try to be focused and too focused, then it becomes very tense, and we certainly don't want that either. Okay, now because you practice this formula for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, certainly you can blink. During the session, if you cough, if you sneeze, just keep on going, okay? You don't need to stop again and then start again. Those things happen and they're fine. Participants who are unwell, if it's better for you to sit down or lie down, then you can choose whichever position while you practice, just whatever that makes you comfortable. But certainly, sit in a quiet, relaxed space. Don't walk around, don't practice and walk around. That doesn't work. Particularly for this foundation level. What we want at this foundation level is for people to understand exactly how to practice precisely. Now, also just a few notes before I read out this formula to you is that if you receive the brain cell activation earlier and you feel that your forehead for some reason is very tense, or if you experience minor headache, there's a technique that can help you to alleviate that. So the technique is that you, let me just stop sharing now so that I can explain first. Okay, so the technique is that you breathe in through your nose for 3 seconds, and then you breathe out through your mouth for 6 seconds, and you do that 3 times. Okay, take your time while you do it. Similarly, after we practice this formula together, practice the brain cell activation formula together. If you experience a little bit of, feeling a little bit tense in your forehead or minor headache, then you can utilize that breathing technique that I just give you. While you practice, certainly have your eyes open. Make sure to follow the formulas because you're new, so it is okay to read out the formulas, not out loud, but in your head, okay? All right, so I'll share the formula again. So this formula, you can see here that the practice duration is based on your age, okay? And I assume that the majority of people here are above 18. So I will set my timer to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And I will also play you a demonstration audio where basically I read out the formula for you, and I will also leave this formula on the screen like this so that you can read it in your head. So I'll just go through the formula now. So basically, these are the 4 steps to a formula. Okay, so first step, you will recite silently in your head. You read it in your head silently once. Receive cosmic divine light, new era energy level 1 frequency band, brain cell activation frequency. And so when you finish with that, we move on to step 2. And once again, you would recite silently in your head, receive energy into the brain. Okay, so you say that in your head, and then you say receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. And you leave 3 to 5 seconds each time in between. And then step 3, you say in your head, send energy from the brain into the ERC. Oh, by the way, I need to clarify that in step 2, when you receive energy into the brain, it is you visualizing energy from outer space entering the brain, okay, right here. And then in step 3, send energy from the brain into the ERC. So from the brain to the ERC, this is the ERC here. It's right here. It's at the back of your neck. It is what we call the ERC, which stands for Energy Reception Center. Okay, so that is a term that you'll be using a lot. So try to familiarize yourself with the ERC. So send first time, send second time, send third time, and also be very aware of the verb that we use, okay, for each of these steps. Do not change it, because these are basically, think about it as commands. Okay, so if you give the wrong command, of course, there'll be no effect. And then for the most part of the formulas, you will stay in step 4, okay, after you go through step 1, 2, 3, and then you go to step 4, where it's say continuously direct energy into the brain and transmit it into the ERC. So basically you read all of these in your head, okay? Don't skip any, because it's just a good habit for you to understand what you need to do. And then let the warmth of energy spread on its own until alarm rings. All right, so the notes here: when practicing, keep your eyes open and direct energy accordingly. All right, so let's practice these formula together. And so I'll leave the formula on the screen like this, and now I'll play, actually turn off my my video so that everyone can see better. Okay, and I'll play a demonstration audio as well, just so you know of the pace and you know exactly what to do when you practice on your own. Okay, so let's get started, everyone. This is practice session to receive Cosmic Divine Light New Era NLG Level 1 frequency band, brain cell activation frequency, for those who are above 18 years old. The timer will be set to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's begin. Step 1. Recite silently once. Receive Cosmic Divine Light New Era NLG Level 1 frequency band, brain cell activation frequency. Step 2. Receive energy into the brain 3 times. Receive first time. Receive second time. Receive third time. Step 3. Send energy from the brain into the ERC 3 times. Send first time. Send second time. Send third time. Step 4. Continuously direct energy into the brain and transmit it into the ERC. Let the warmth of energy spread on its own until alarm rings. Okay, everyone, so we just completed practicing these brain cell activation frequency formula together. Well done. All right. So thank you everyone for participating. We have about 7 minutes, but before we wraps up today's class, I do have a few important points to inform everyone. And also, if you have any questions, this is your time to put them into the chat box of this live stream, and I'll go ahead and answer them. But I'd just like to share with you very quickly the QR code that I talked about. So these are the QR code for level 1 and 2 groups. So here you'll see that we have a notification. This is the general notification channel. And then in the middle, we have the level 1 and 2 English chat group. That is where you can actually ask questions. And then level 1 and 2 English channel, that is to receive posts and announcements and things like that. So the chat group in the middle here is the one that you can ask question. So you can either go ahead and put your question in the chat box, or you can, if you don't have time now, then you can just scan these QR code and then you put up your question in our Telegram groups. Okay, so I'll leave these QR code on the screen so that everyone can scan it. And so remember that your homework for today is to practice the brain cell activation formula, okay? And you will only have this opportunity today to practice it, because from tomorrow, after you get the second activation, you will no longer practice this brain cell activation formula. So this is a great opportunity for you to just have a taste of what it's like to practice an energy formula, get used to the timing, get used to directing energy, and it's just nice for you to have the first experience. If this is your first time going into energy, then it's just for you to have the experience of knowing and exploring this energy before we go to the second day of level 1. Okay. Now, some of the commonly asked questions, I'm just trying to wait for people to put in question, but I haven't seen any. So I reckon everyone is clear on what is need to be done. And so what happened is with the formula that we just practiced, I will put it up on our Telegram groups. So that is why I put up the QR code now, so that everyone can scan it. Okay, so scan it and have a look in these Telegram groups. I will post the formula there so that you don't need to do screenshots and things like that, because it can be blurry. I'll just post the proper version. Okay, so that everyone can have it. You can save it and start practicing. So I'll go ahead and do that right after this live stream ends. So some of the commonly asked question, if there is no question from our participant today. So now that you've started with energy, you can still receive healing energy from Mr. Lay, okay, on a daily basis. His healing energy transmission schedule, it's at 7 p.m. PDT, that is California time. So it doesn't matter which class level that you're at, or whether you haven't done any energy class, it's still okay for you to come in and receive healing energy from him. Okay. Now, for some participants, they feel sleepy, or when they first started with energy, they feel extremely warm or even hot. When they first practice, but then those symptoms start to ease out, and they gradually would no longer feel like that. Maybe just a little bit of warmth, or some participants even experience like a very cooling sensation. Okay, so what happened is that if you feel sleepy, or extremely, extremely warm, when you receive this energy, that means that you're lacking in energy. So the solution is to keep practicing, okay? You keep practice, you get your energy level up and you balance it, and that will help you to not feel sleepy when you practice. And that would also help to balance out that warmth as you feel. Okay. And of course, there's another possibility is that if you are too sleepy when you practice, it could be that you didn't have enough sleep at night. So once again, go back to self-love. You need to remember to take good care of yourself. And just a reminder for everyone that if you haven't registered, then make sure you go ahead and do that after this live stream ends. The registration link is still up, and make sure that you put in the right class code. And just remember that when you click on a class code, then all of the relevant time would appear. Okay, so you're gonna have a look at the schedule that we've already posted on our YouTube, and then you can certainly make the decision for yourself on which class code you need to use. Okay. All right, so since no one has question, I'll just go ahead and do a short summary. So today, I introduce you to energy. That is a practice-based method that helps you to develop, flourish, enhance in all aspects of life. And to use this energy, you certainly have to have energy connection, which you need to regulate yourself to get there. By achieving the +1 -1 frequency. And this frequency is embedded in your everyday practice of the 5 forms of love and morality through the ways that you act, you respond, you treat others, and of course, treating yourself. So build a strong foundation of understanding for this method, and these elements will help you to move forward and to enable greater miracles. All right, so I think we are finished for today's class. Thank you everyone for participating. On behalf of all participants today, I'd like to say thank you to our energy founder, Mr. HOTLINE, and a huge thank you to those who work behind the scene, making this program work. And I will see everyone in day 2 of level 1, which is tomorrow. Don't forget your homework. And also I will post the formulas right after this live stream and on our Telegram groups. Okay, so thank you everyone for participating. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.